Hey everybody, it's me, Jake, from Jake and Off. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. This week, I am joined by a very special guest. It's Evan Christian Goldt, everybody. Let him hear it. Give him a round of applause. You can follow Evan on social media at Evan C. Goldt, Goldt. And, check out his shows. Check out his stand-up dates. He posts those all the time on social media. And then, as always, you can follow this podcast at jakeand.off.podcast. And you can send anything at all to jakeand.off.podcast@gmail.com. I'll look at it at least once. But with that said, thank you all so much for tuning in to yet another episode. I appreciate you listening. And without further ado, enjoy the show. Have a good listen to the show. No billboard or anything and I've seen billboards for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see the Jesus ad in the Super Bowl?
The feet washing?
Washing the feet?
Oh yeah, the AI feet washing.
Dude, it did seem AI.
Oh, it's absolutely AI. They
it was?
clearly spent however much money it takes just to get the spot itself, and they probably spent maybe like $1,000 making the ad.
Yeah, dude.
Like, it was so fucking low quality.
Pretty slick on Jesus's part. Yes, me.
Yeah,
honestly,
thrifty.
Dude.
Did you see Kanye's Super Bowl ad? Because I totally missed it until
No,
people brought it up
what?
after. Kanye paid for like a 30-second Super Bowl ad where the ad itself is just a front-facing camera thing where it's him being like, I bought a Super Bowl ad, but I'm not spending any money on the ad. I'm just here to tell you everything on Yeezy.com is $20. That's the whole fucking thing. And I was like,
what?
All right.
Okay, dude. I gotta pull that up.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so weird. And literally, like, I saw people, I saw articles about it, and I was just like, wait, like, how did I miss this? I was watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. So was I.
I mean, I wasn't watching the whole time, if you catch my drift.
Let's see, dude. Surely it'll be like in this article.
Embedded in the article.
Here it is.
Spent all the money on the commercial spot. We actually didn't spend any money on the actual commercial. But the idea is, I want you to go to Yeezy.com, YEEZY.com, and I'm gonna write it at the bottom of the screen. And I got some shoes, and
What is he?
that's it.
What the fuck?
His voices sound so strange to me lately.
Yeah, dude.
I
it
don't know how to
does
describe it.
sound Like
I think there have been rumors for a while that, like, and I don't know if this is the, like, wokest thing for me to say, that, like, Kanye might be gay.
oh,
And honestly,
that's so funny. I was like literally like, because the way that I was thinking of the way that his voice sounds is like, I was like, he clearly sounds unwell right now.
I think it's the grill.
Yeah,
He's like lisping through the grill. Yeezy.com, YEEZY.
It also just seems like, is he driving like a
The audio's
16-wheel
fucked up.
truck?
It looks like he's in a tunnel.
Yeah, dude, he's like in like a fucking military vehicle.
Imagine if Bane from Batman was wearing a grill under the mask. I was born on Yeezy. Molded by Yeezy.
Everything $20.
It's so weird.
I got some shoes.
It's endearing enough. Like, if he wasn't crazy and like
yeah.
anti-Semitic or whatever all the other problems are, we'd be like, that's funny. Good
Yeah.
job, Kanye.
If he would have done this in like
10 years ago?
2014,
Yeah,
that's what I
we'd
was
be
gonna
like,
say.
that's fucking
We'd
so
be like,
funny.
That's so sick, dude.
Can't wait for
Kanye
Life
West
of
is so
Pablo.
sick. Yeah.
Jesus ruled. Jesus saves.
Did you ever watch that documentary about him?
I watched part 1, that like 3-part thing he put out on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched part 1. It's fascinating. It
The
really
guy
is.
who
Like,
followed him did a really good job.
no, he did an amazing job, and quite frankly, it's like, can you imagine just having like footage of like everything like David Bowie was doing in the 60s? You know what I mean? It's like it's really it's staggering, like the
Yeah.
access this guy had and just how fucking successful the subject got. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can't think of anything similar to the level of like footage and archival footage they have of this person. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
that has reached the Kanye level of success. I
Yes.
can't think of anything,
The
any
Beatles
precedent.
documentaries that they released was even after the Beatles had been like super famous.
Oh yeah, no, the Beatles.
Like they didn't. Then they started recording everything.
It's not like there's pictures of the Beatles in Germany, but it's not
Right.
like anybody was following them around when Pete Best was still in the band. You know,
Mhm.
it's yeah, it's really interesting. I miss you, Kanye.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Kanye. Dude, this other article that I read is about this paper that got published in a science article that has AI created images that are like fake, and it's like of a rat's giant dick.
Looks like a jawbreaker there.
Dude, it's its balls and its giant dick.
That's insane.
But if you look at it, it's like labeled this. It's clearly made with AI. The lab was in China, and like the results that they were publishing actually were like credible and stuff.
Sure.
It's just they made these AI images that were like just completely fake. So this is labeled as rat, and then this is disliced, and then this right here, it's just pointing to this thing. It says DCK dick, but with no I and stuff. And there's like all these other like images in the article that they published, and it becomes clear that there's like not actually. It looks like English, but it's not actually English. You know what I mean? Like in these sort of things.
I find
And
this shit
there's,
so
no,
frustrating.
it's like disturbing, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not like a total 100% AI purist. I do think that there are things you can do with it that are totally useful and like don't like really infringe upon like artists' rights too much or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's things that you can use ChatGPT for that are like perfectly fine. Like, why do I need to write a description for like another fucking stand-up show that I'm promoting? Let's just ChatGPT tell people. You know, I've done that once or twice.
Yeah.
And you know, there's like little AI tools like on the photo editing thing I use for my posters that like, you know, they'll fill in a little gap here on an edited image or whatever. It's not like it's putting a rat with a huge dick on my scientific journal. Or
Dude, it's so comical. Like
rat it too big.
Dude, imagine a rat with a dick like this sitting under your hat, pulling your hair, dude.
Every meal is sausage based.
Yeah. Dude.
Sausage and nuts. That's all Ratatouille knows how to make anymore.
Dude, yeah, I heard that guy, the chef there, has a rat with a huge dick under his hat.
That's why the hat's so tall. You can wear a much smaller hat if it was just the rat, but that dick goes straight up into the sky. It's like he has a tree growing out of his jawbreaker-sized ball.
Yeah, dude, and it just proves that AIs don't know what dick looks like.
No, dude. When that first AI, what was it called? Like there was this AI, Dolly. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the Dolly Mini or whatever, and it would give you like a grid of 9 pictures for your prompt. I was using that when it first came out, and I was doing Dr. Manhattan at Costco. Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen series, the blue guy that floats around naked or whatever. And they wouldn't give him a dick, and I was like, so I started typing prompts that was like Dr. Manhattan hanging dong in Costco or like Dr. Manhattan with a blue penis in Costco. Like I was really like put a penis on him.
Yeah.
And it refused. It just totally refused. And then eventually I just typed in like penis at Costco. And, like, the things that they put out, that they looked like fucking gourds and, like, zucchinis, but, like, fucked up and fleshy and stuff. And then I just typed in penis, and, yeah, dude, it's disturbing. They look like fucking vegetables with, like, alien fucking DNA spliced into them. It's fucking strange how.
Yeah, dude, that's because the AI want to use them for energy. That's exactly what they are to the computers, dude.
We're gonna put your dick in our batteries.
Yeah. Much like that's how they, because it's like the AI hasn't developed enough yet
Mm-hmm.
to like figure out exactly how to do it, but that's like it's like equivocating your dick to like a pumpkin or something that it can eat for energy
Or decorate
and
its lawn with.
substance. Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah, carve faces into.
You know how the pumpkins rot on the front
Yeah.
porch or whatever?
Yeah.
That takes like months. The dick would be like.
It was resistant to showing you dicks too because it didn't want you to figure out what was up.
Yeah, it's
It
like
didn't want you to get clued in.
Clearly, all this AI stuff has like safe features or safety
Yeah.
fucking search.
They don't want you to
features.
use it to make porn because they are using it to make porn.
Yeah, I heard about the like Taylor Swift AI porn that went viral.
Yeah.
Did you see any of it?
No.
I deliberately didn't want to see any of it, but then one was just posted in a reply thread or whatever that I didn't see coming, and it was her
Yeesh.
being fucked by Oscar the Grouch. And it was upsetting,
Yeah.
and it looked way too real,
That's gross.
but it was very funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was really funny. I'll never
It's
look at it
fucked up.
again. It's fucked up. I'm upset that I saw it. But I'm glad that at least it was a silly one, you know? Like I don't know. You know? It was fucked up though. And it's just I don't know. It's upsetting. It's upsetting when they are able to make it so realistic looking.
Yeah.
Like cuz people have been drawing fucking whatever the fuck they want forever. And that's like already kind of fucked up and boundary crossing.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least you're not like left with an image in your head that's like kind of like
Oscar the Grouch
fucking Taylor Swift. Yeah, I know it's fucked up.
No, man. It is one of the worst things about the internet is like, you know, I think for most people, for most human beings, like just like something horrific being described in like words
Yeah.
is enough.
Yes.
You know, to like you know, when somebody says like there's Taylor Swift AI porn that where Oscar the Grouch is fucking her, like there's no part of me that's like, yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? And like you saw it on accident. Like,
Yeah.
That's and but like there is this element of it that it like because of how the internet is, like there is this inevitability that like you are going to see fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like and this actually is
And when
kind of
when I was a kid, it was like scarier
yeah.
because you would just like I feel like it happened more than once where I would be looking at like Pokemon porn,
Yeah.
you know, as like a little kid, which I found in the first place on accident.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this. Like
No.
it was Digimon actually, but I just Googled the word Digimon because me and my friends used to just like to save pictures of our shows that we liked in little folders. Like this is
Yeah.
my Digimon folder and this is my
Yeah.
Zoids folder or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to find cool new Digimon pictures that my friends don't have yet. And like
Yeah.
page 2 of Google search in like 2005 or whenever this been, porn. Just like
Yeah.
fucking, you know, fan made porn, and I'm just like,
You're like,
"What?"
I'm different now.
Yeah, exactly.
Something has changed inside of me.
I'm digivolving. But yeah, it's just like, and I feel like just like base level shit like that, base level like
Yeah,
Rule
yeah,
34 shit that I
yeah.
would stumble on. You were
Yeah.
like 2 clicks away, like
Right.
20 years ago, from finding yourself on like a page advertising like snuff films and fucking
Dude.
like really fucked up like
And not
incest
even-
things. And,
Honestly, man, not even just 20 years ago, still to this day.
Yeah.
Like very much like right around the corner. And this is what so this actually I feel like is very related to the reason why you're on the podcast today. And what we're talking about, because last week I went and saw Jordan Peterson live
Doctor.
and in person. Dr.
Jordan
Peterson
Peterson.
live in
Dr.
person.
Jordan B. Peterson.
So I've like always had like a fascination kind of with like conspiracies and like internet pilledness
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And who Jordan Peterson is like he's like the guy who you click on and then like
Yeah.
the next thing that comes up is the
Why Jews live in the hollow earth.
is the Digimon porn or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's the equivalent. And I don't even think that it's necessarily like Jews live in the hollow earth. Like I think that Jordan Peterson is like a like sort of shepherd for like just conservative ideals in general. Like in like it's strange because he so like I through talking to you when you were dropping me off,
Yeah.
because Evan gave me a ride.
I gave you
there.
a ride. Yeah.
And so I
thought it was gonna be like a 30-minute thing, maybe, and then
it
like
took a long time, dude.
the fucking GPS kept adding time to
Yeah.
our trip, and I was like, "What the fuck is going
Yeah.
on?" And then we're like halfway there, and it's thick
Yeah.
as fuck. The traffic is so thick, and you were
Yeah.
joking like they're all going to see Jordan Peterson, dude. And then sure enough, we were stuck behind the same fucking car from Arizona for like 20 minutes all the way to Cable Dahmer. It was fucking insane.
So the arena, I looked it up because the arena holds 5,800 people.
Oh wow.
And when we were pulling up, it seemed like so many.
Yeah.
It seemed like a ton. I've been to events with way more people
Yeah.
that have had better flow of traffic. It was insane how bad it
Well,
was.
and what you pointed out on the way there, which I think is totally true, is just like, oh, no one is going with their friends to Jordan Peterson.
Dude, yeah.
Every one of these cars has one smelly dude
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
Who made their bed this morning.
Dude, and so when you dropped me off, I remember you dropped me off and I did that bit where I was like, you gotta get yourself out of here. It's like, you gotta get the fuck out. Go. But literally when you dropped me off, I did feel like I had been like fucking airdropped into enemy territory like immediately. And I think that's partially due to like the vape rips that I had taken in the car. I was like, oh God.
I got home and Casey was just like, you know, if some terrorist kills Jake tonight, I'll be sad, but it's kind of on him.
There's no way that would happen there.
No.
They're like, dude, it's like they would be like, why would we ruin this perfect event? Like all the terrorists are like, no.
Yeah.
You mean our event?
Yeah,
Why would we?
exactly. I was like, I think
why-
most of the terrorists in our neck of the woods would probably just buy a ticket.
Yeah,
You know?
dude. But so I walked like because you dropped me off kind of like down the road a little bit,
Right.
and it's like it was in such a weird area because it's Cable Dahmer Arena. I kept calling
Yeah.
it Jeffrey Dahmer Arena. Jeffrey Dahmer Arena it's in Independence, but it's like across the street from like a Golden Corral
Yeah.
and like a fucking
Next
like,
door to the Costco I
a
used to work at.
Costco, yeah, dude, and so it's just like this like sort of like weirdly like located area, and the arena itself is 5,800 seats, and it's for like hockey.
Yeah.
It's for like a local like minor league hockey
The
team.
Mavericks.
Yeah. And so how it was set up it is like, you know, there's like arena seats that go, it's like a bowl all the way around the hockey rink.
Did Jordan Peterson do his vicious circle?
No, I wish. But he set up in one end and had like the backside curtained off. So it was like probably like 3/4 of the loop, and then they had floor seating set up. And I would say it was like 60% full. He definitely didn't come close to selling out.
Wow. But that's
Because-
still like thousands of people.
Yeah, it's still thousands of people. I'd put it at like, you know, whatever 60% of 5,800 is, like,
You know,
Yeah,
it's
like-
around 3,000.
yeah, around 3,000 people. And so they're kind of like, it was seated weird because the seats were really small. That was like something that I wasn't anticipating, is how tiny the seats were. Which I'm a big guy, but like also a lot of the people that are going to see Jordan Peterson are pretty big guys.
Yeah, big old boys.
And so, you know, we get there and you drop me off, and I kind of like go in, and there's a lot of like middle-aged, like probably like really young baby boomer, maybe like older
Yeah.
Gen X, or like I don't know, like what are the generations are.
Like people around
Because
his
baby
age.
boomers something else. Yeah, and like, you know, I'd say like a lot of people from like their like late 30s to like early like 50s, a lot of couples in that range.
You mentioned that
There
were
was a lot of
couples.
couples, like,
And we talked
clearly,
about like there might be some like real like fundamental values, like
Yes,
traditional values
you
type
had said that
ladies.
on like when we were pulling up, and I think you had mentioned something about like religious people or something
It's
like
the
that.
Wrestle with God tour,
Yeah, it is the Wrestle with God tour.
which sounds like something that Kanye would also name a tour.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's true.
Just Kanye fucking literally wrestling with like a hologram of like God from the creation of Adam or something.
But
He's wearing Yeezys.
dude, so when I got there, my seat was like there would be like whole sections of the stadium where like one was like full, like it would be like a ton of people in it, and then one was like basically empty.
Mm,
And so I was like worried. I was like, dang, dude, this thing is gonna fill up. But so I went and sat in my actual seat,
yeah.
and lo and behold, it didn't fill up. But when I got there to my actual seat, like the row was like basically filled in, and my seat was like right in the middle. And so there's this dude, it's like these couples, and then my seat, and then like these two old men. And then this dude was sitting behind them by himself in a 3-piece suit, because that's like one of Jordan
Oh,
Peterson's
yeah.
whole thing.
Make your
He's like,
bed.
yeah, make your bed, 3-piece suit or whatever.
Have money.
Yeah, and he I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go on your row and like climb over really quick, dude.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
I was like, can I squeeze through so I can climb over? And like they all looked at me like I was insane. Like they all looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And like at this point I'm like, they know I'm I. Like everybody knows.
They know I'm not one of them.
And I climbed over the seats. It was like really awkward, and I'm just like squeezed in. And for the first like I would say like 20 minutes that I'm there, nothing's happening. Like we're all sitting on our phones. And then like the kind of the lights go down.
Were they playing music?
They were playing music, and it was exactly the kind of music that they would play like if you were because I went to like that IHOP church one time.
Yeah.
And they like were playing like weird like wall of sound worshipy music.
Okay, so they're not playing like
Beforehand, like there's no lyrics, but it's just like it's like meditationally like Christian like rock music,
That's so
meditation
funny.
music kind of shit. You know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what they're playing, and then the lights sort of go down.
God, how bad of a musician do you have to be for your music to be described as like an instrumental Christian rock? Like that's the worst fucking thing I've ever
It's pretty
heard.
terrible.
Because Christian rock, you can usually only tell because somebody's like, "God put it in me," or
Yeah.
like weirdly sexual fucking
That
lyrics.
was God. He put it in me.
But just for the music to be so bad in and of itself, to be like, yeah, Christian made
And
this.
actually, okay, before we get too much further into this, I want to go back a little bit because I did want to do this because after talking with you and with my partner Jennifer, I realized that maybe people don't know a ton of details about Jordan Peterson. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to give a quick rundown of some stuff about him. So like prior to 2016, Jordan Peterson was like a pretty well like beloved and respected like academics like psychologist.
Yeah.
And he had a working practice and stuff, dude. At one point he was an associate professor at Harvard, and he worked for a long time at the University of Toronto where he was a professor at, and he like had a practice and shit. And in 2016 he went viral because he made some YouTube like vlog sort of videos about a bill in Canada, which the exact name of it is an act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act, or Bill C-18, which literally the purpose of this bill was to be like you can't to like amend it so that gender-based and sexuality-based discrimination was protected under the Canadian Rights Act. And Jordan Peterson's whole argument that he made that made him go viral was that it was compelled speech, that it was forcing you to call somebody by their preferred pronouns instead of, their quote unquote actual pronouns. And the context of like this is important too, because of like what he kind of goes on to become. is like so this is 2016. Donald Trump is running for president.
Yes.
Gamergate has just happened, which like a lot of people don't know is like an important thing.
I feel like Gamergate started years before.
It started in like 2015. It started 2014, 2015. The major Gamergate like scandal had to do with this lady wrote she made a video game, an independent video game.
Is it like Anita Sarkeesian? Is it that lady?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember the woman's name, but she made a Anita Sarkeesian is like involved because she like I think wrote some articles like
because
lambasting these people, and then they like freaked out.
I was watching her essays about like tropes and sexism in video games, like
yes,
it easily at least as far back as like 2013, maybe even earlier, like 2012.
Yes,
I was with my ex.
She was
at the time.
prominent in the gaming sort of community.
Yeah, people fucking hated her already. Yeah,
yes, because of like what a male dominated space it was.
Yeah,
and she defended this woman because the whole thing is this. I don't think it was her, but some woman made an indie game that like got a good review by this journalist, and she broke up with her boyfriend, and then her boyfriend like basically like said like, well, she got a good review because she like slept with that journalist at, whatever. And then like, even though it wasn't true, and like the guy even ended up saying it wasn't true, it became this flashpoint for like people being like, women are trying to take over gaming, like da 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 da, and like literally was like sort of the beginning of like what I would describe as like this environment of like white male resentment that like really like it was like it was like the kind of the beginning of like that becoming popular. Inceldom, exactly.
Yeah.
Inceldom, exactly.
Yeah,
it was the beginning of it. Like as like a more broad like movement kind of thing.
It's when men started going their own way.
It got offline. That's when it like also like jumped from like online to real life.
Yeah.
Too, because people started doxing like a lot and shit like that. Like,
I mean, I know that there were some like mass shootings.
Yes.
Like inspired by this branch.
And so this is exactly what is going on. Like this is the context to like that we get Jordan Peterson in 2016, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Because that is a huge reason why he becomes so popular. So in 2016, he makes these videos that go viral for, slamming woke moralists or whatever. And then, in 2018, he released the book 12 Rules for Life, which is, make your bed.
Right.
Like that kind of shit, which like
eat nothing but meat.
That wasn't in there
Give
yet.
your daughter power of attorney.
So that wasn't in that book. That book, that's like the other I think important thing is like, so he wrote this book that is a self-help book that like by and large like is full of like really like simple shit that like you could hear from anybody. And it's like there's nothing necessarily about it that would seem
in and of itself like a red flag
or anything. And so that's really a big part of it is like there are people.
That's why it's such an effective funnel.
Exactly, because there are people who were seeking help and got help from his book, and then like became sort of engrossed into the.
Well, he was right about me making my bed,
right.
So maybe trans women aren't women.
Exactly, dude. And so, basically, ever since then, he's been a favorite of the exact kind of people that you would think that he's a favorite of. And I like came up with some of the sort of like notable, hilarious things. One of them being the aforementioned meat. It's specifically beef and water. You only have beef and water, and it helps your depression. It helps your depression. I mean, like, I imagine I'd probably be pretty depressed about not shitting at all. Probably would be like my whole thing. That might make me depressed. It helps like your joint pain, apparently, is like because his daughter Michaela, who dated Andrew Tate, like this is the kind of like this is the family that this guy is like cultivated.
Yeah.
They eat nothing but meat and drink nothing but water. This video I did want to play. This is a video of Jordan Peterson describing an episode that occurred after he drank some cider. So this is like just kind of gives you like an insight into the
He has the silliest little voice. Oh, look, there he is being platformed by Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he's on Joe Rogan's podcast, but this is him describing an incident that he had with some cider.
One of the things that both Michaela and I noticed was that when we restricted our diet and then ate something we weren't supposed to, the reaction to eating what we weren't supposed to was absolutely catastrophic.
What did you do? What did you switch to? Or what did you eat, rather?
Well, the worst response, I think we're allergic to, or allergic, whatever the hell this is, having an inflammatory response to something called sulfites. And we had some apple cider that had sulfites in it, and that was really not good. Like, I was done for a month. That was the first time I talked to Sam Harris.
You were done for a month?
Oh, yeah. It took me out for a month. It was awful.
Really?
Yeah. So I would say,
so,
look.
So this is right before this whole truth conversation with Sam Harris that got stuck in the mud. During.
So
I
I think the day I talked to Sam was like the worst day of my life. Not because of talking to Sam, but it was
just physically.
Oh, Jesus, I was so dead. But I didn't want to not do it. Because
apple cider, like what was it doing?
Sulfites in it.
What was it doing to you?
Oh, it produced an overwhelming sense of impending doom. And I seriously been overwhelming. Like, there's no way I could have lived like that if that would have lasted for... See, Michaela knew by that point that it would probably only last a month, and I was like...
A month?
Yeah,
from
a month.
Fucking cider?
Oh, I didn't sleep that month. I didn't sleep for 25 days. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep at all for 25 days.
How is that possible? That
I'll tell you how it's possible. You lay in bed, frozen in something approximating terror for 8 hours, and then you get up.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Not
and
good.
This is from fucking cider. From cider.
That's what we thought.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Lewis...
Whoops.
The Lewisburg, Kansas tourism board is freaking out. What did he say? Jordan Peterson?
Just like but I feel like it's such a good encapsulation of like what this dude is. He's like
a lunatic.
Like, literally he told Joe Rogan, he said to him, I didn't sleep for 24 days, and Joe Rogan immediately was like, that's impossible. Like, how could you not? And he was like, it happened. And he's like, okay.
In terror for 8 hours. He sounds like fucking. He sounds like Bjork. I don't eat anything but beef and water now,
dude. He's like a psycho. He's just like an insane person. And dude, here's the thing: is like,
if anyone in your real life, even if you're some pilled weirdo incel, if anyone in your real life was like, I couldn't sleep for 24 days because I had a glass of cider, you'd be like, shut the fuck up. What the fuck are you talking about? You'd be like, this person's a compulsive liar.
Yeah.
I shouldn't trust a single thing they say.
Or even beyond that, like, if you... So I read this article...
But all of these same people... You tell them you're gluten-free, they're like, oh, what's that? Does that mean you have a pussy in your asshole, you piece of shit? bet you can drink cider.
Dude, the other thing, though, too, is, like, I read this article about this guy who went on the carnivore diet for, like, a week, and he didn't shit for, like, days. But, like, what was so funny to me is, like, the recurring theme in his article about it was... Every time he would like meet a friend for like lunch or something, like he would explain the diet to them and they'd be like, that's bad. Like, that's really bad for you. And that's the other thing, right? Is any regular, normal human being, if you said to somebody in your life, like, yeah, I'm just eating beef and water, they would be like, that's not good. They're like, that's really, really bad for you. But this guy is clearly like surrounded by people who are like have bought into his shit and like are like making their own shit. Like, his daughter is a psycho as well.
I wish Jordan Peterson would buy a 30-second Super Bowl ad to front-face camera talk about his beef diet. I spent all of our money on the commercial spot.
Yeah.
So I didn't spend any money on the ad, but I just want everyone to know. Don't drink cider.
Dude, he's a grifter, like, through and through. It really is like his whole thing, and he's selling. You
don't think he buys his own shit?
I think that he buys his own shit, but I think that
because I think there is a distinction between a grifter and like a sick weirdo.
No, a
little.
I think that I do think that there is a difference. Like, I think that he is like more of like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Than he is like, somebody intentionally like grifting. But I still think that he is a grifter because he is trying to, he is trying to like profit off of this stuff. Like, I don't know. I can't say for sure if Jordan Peterson planned
9/11.
yeah, I can't say that for sure either. That too.
you never know.
But I can't so I can't say that, but I also can't say that Jordan Peterson I don't know if he planned from the beginning that he was
This like
gonna
descent into
go viral by
Yeah.
making these videos about, whatever. Like, I think that probably like he felt like he was speaking out about something important.
Sure.
And then when it went viral, it fed into this clear megalomania
Yeah.
that he has and like gigantic ego and has transpired into this. So I think that it's still fair to call him a grifter. I just think that he's a little more sincere than most grifters in the fact that like I do think you're right. Like he
Yeah.
does buy into his own shit.
I mean, because if you see some of the pictures of that
Yes.
guy when he was doing the meat diet,
Dude,
his face looks
yeah.
fucked
Well,
up.
that's the other thing too is another notable thing about him is that he struggled with addiction to benzos in well, what he would say is not addiction. Physical dependency and addiction are different.
Sure.
Which is technically true.
Yeah.
But and so we can't know for sure, but his daughter even said like multiple times that obviously, an addiction diagnosis would be like catastrophic to her father's brand because his whole brand is like this bootstrap yourself, like
Yeah.
mind over matter, like and he's a
Beef
traditional
over water.
Beef over water. Dude.
Slop him up.
Yeah, dipping dude, yeah,
He's a real sloppy steaks kind
sloppy
of guy.
steaks, yeah. He literally is eating sloppy
That's his
steaks.
whole diet.
Yeah, just sloppy steaks.
I'm on a dangerous night.
But he was put into a coma, an induced coma in Russia, like to help him with his addiction to
To
benzos.
help him with his addiction, not to
Yeah.
program him to assassinate the president later.
Yeah. And so, dude, it's like, it's this whole shit. Like everything up to this point has like led him into becoming like what he is now, which is this sort of like, it seems like psychotic, like addled, like, just freak, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's standing, now you're fucking standing in a minor league hockey rink. Like telling it, it's like, dude, I gotta go see it. Like,
Yeah.
I have this morbid curiosity, like I have to go see this guy. And so the first thing that happened, the lights go down. I've climbed over. There's like all these dudes in 3-piece suits. There's just
I would like
dudes
to know,
dressed in full
what is the
suits.
mood? Are people like talking to each other and like high fiving and signing each
No.
other up? For
Everyone is very judgmental of everybody in the room. Like I felt like everybody was
That's
like
so
not
funny.
like, yeah, dude. Everybody was like, I hope there's no woke moralists.
Because I just
among
picture
us.
like Gavin McGinnis or whatever, like standing outside with a clipboard, like signing people up for his Proud Boy kickball league or something. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like,
yeah.
if you were like an effective extremist, that is an event you should be like signing people up for. your
Yeah, I
shit.
could not have, it could not have been a less welcoming environment.
That
I
is
gotta
so
be frank. I did not feel like anybody was like there to have fun at all or do anything cool or fun.
Why go?
It felt very serious. Like the whole thing felt very serious. And then in true grifter fashion, the lights go down and the first thing that happens is that 2 ads are played on the Jumbotron. And so I wanted to play one of them because so the first ad was for this thing called Essay, which as far as I could tell is
Sexual assault? They doing ads for that now?
No, essay as in like an essay you write. And from what I can tell is it's literally Jordan Peterson's version of Microsoft Word. Like he made his own Microsoft Word. It's like, why, dude? Microsoft Word is pretty good.
Well,
Is it too woke?
on my version, on essay, it will not say that you misspelled the word if you spell woke mob. You won't get the little red line if you use that as one word.
Yeah, the paperclip like keeps popping up and being like, we need to preserve traditional hierarchies in society.
Have you ever heard the 14 words?
Dude, but see, the thing is like because I think a lot of people who like Jordan Peterson, like
Funky tastemakers.
he is mainstream. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's like the other thing is like, you know, stuff like the 14 words and those kinds of things, those aren't mainstream. It's
Yeah.
below the surface though. Like
Right.
that is this guy. Like he's a Western chauvinist.
Yeah.
Like he is exactly like any good extremist, like you said, like would be out there signing people up for the
Yeah.
Proud Boys and stuff like that. I was surprised. I'm sure that there were
I'm
Proud
like
Boys in the audience.
relieved to hear that it wasn't
Yes.
like that. But in my head, I was
Yeah.
like, Jake's about to walk into like a family picnic of like domestic terrorists.
No, and I didn't think that it was going to be like that either. And I think the thing is that, and it is because Jordan Peterson is like
Weirdly
he's a mainstream guy. Like
Yeah.
he's a mainstream guy because on the surface, like if you don't know any better, like you don't realize like how the stuff that he's saying is like so extreme.
Sure.
And so the lights go down, this ad for SA plays with like, you know, his version of Microsoft. And then the next ad is for Peterson Academy, which is his version of Trump University
Or
like
PragerU.
whatever the fuck. Yeah, exactly. No, this is an actual school.
Oh.
This is an actual school that you can go to. And so this isn't the exact ad. It's really close though. It's
Got
like
it.
really close to the ad that was played. I don't think it's the exact one, but it's really close to the ad that was played. So here's
Can you
this.
move
That's
this
what
way?
we're doing with Peterson Academy.
We thought, what if we could make getting a degree 95% less expensive? Because that's a
Yeah.
pretty funny target. It's like, we're going to undercut you by 95% and offer a better quality experience along the way. Why wouldn't it be good to provide everybody, at least in principle, with access to the best lecturers? You know, you might think, why should you be generally educated? Because otherwise you're going to be a useless, resentful, bitter, pointless, counterproductive lump. And that's not a good strategy. So that's why you think. You think so that your stupid thoughts can die instead of you. If you get to the upper echelons of any hierarchy, you'll start encountering people who know a lot about almost everything. And so if you're stupid and you don't know anything about anything, they're just going to look at you and listen to you for like 2 seconds and think, well, I don't know where this clunk came from, but, you know, he's not come along for the ride. You need to be enculturated so that you can play with sophisticated people and you can play a sophisticated and productive game, but also so that you've informed yourself with the greatest ideas of history so that whatever problem you're tackling, you're going to have tools to tackle it with. Once we get it well developed, you'll be able to take all these courses, and then, you know, you won't be a complete embarrassment to yourself.
I didn't enjoy my university experience. The professor wasn't interesting. I was like, I'm pretty sure what they just said wasn't true. I got a psychology professor tell me rats weren't social creatures because they lived in cages. Literally, that happened. It's like, what? I'm not traveling 40 minutes to go to this class. And I think it's cruel that people are told they have to go to university, they have to spend $100,000 to $200,000 to get a degree so they can get a job. Otherwise, they're screwed. It's just a scam, but it bothers me that people are being scammed to learn to not believe in themselves, assume that they can't fix their problems, and then hate their country, basically. It would be funny if we could blow apart the university system a little bit because it's broken because of what it did to you. Like, you were alienated out of your job, basically.
You'll be damn fortunate if we can provide you with a list of people who've graduated. And if you had any sense, you'll employ them preferentially because we did the rigorous screening work. And I know how to do the rigorous screening work because I studied that for like 25 years. A degree from our university will signify high-level conscientiousness and general cognitive ability, and those are very valuable for any employer with a clue. So I think we can just skip the accreditation process and go right to the employers.
We are planning a soft launch in November, and we might be able to change the education system. That's funny. It's weird.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Yeah,
We'll see who cancels who.
Exactly.
That sort of funny.
That kind of funny.
Oh yeah, that kind of funny.
Dude, raucous applause.
God,
People clapped so hard.
that dude is like the pinnacle. That is such a good example. Like the way that guy is talking is such a good example of like the kind of person that would be susceptible to his bullshit.
Yes.
Because most everything that he said in that video was
Nothing.
incoherent.
It's
absolute fucking
exactly.
meaningless gobbledygook.
Dude, yes.
And so
yes.
it's just like literally, it's just like people being like, I recognize
Precisely.
that word. Oh, that's a big word.
No,
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Okay.
This guy's got something going on.
And that's why I think this video too is like such a good introduction to what was about to happen because he's saying nothing.
Yeah.
He literally is like, dude, all the professors that are lecturing are just buddies who have podcasts that they let him go on, like pretty
Christ.
much. And so it's bullshit. He mentions that they're like, well, we'll just skip accreditation and go right to the employers. Is like what he's saying because it's like an unaccredited school, and it's nonsense, dude. It's just it's complete nonsense. But the other thing though is that like it's hitting on this sort of like issue that people have with the education system, which is
Right.
broken, which is fundamentally like fucked up, but they are like redirecting it into like the exact opposite of what the problem
Well,
is, not
yeah.
woke schools
Well,
and
conservatives'
universities.
problems with schools are not that they are underfunded. It's not even
Yeah.
that they're expensive. It isn't censorship or any of that shit.
Yes.
Conservatives' problems with schools, like when you talk about fixing education to conservative audiences, the buzzword fucking thing you're putting into their mind is like, you know how your daughter went to school and now she hates you because she learned anything about anything, and so she doesn't want to vote Republican anymore? Peterson Academy wouldn't let that happen to your little girl.
Exactly. And
maybe if your daughter went to Peterson Academy, she would still call you.
Yeah.
maybe she wouldn't have blocked you on Facebook.
Yeah. And so we fucking like it is though. It is like takes this issue that is very much a real issue that exists in people's lives. School is so expensive.
Right.
You know, it's like
I can't get a job without it.
You need an education, like da-da-da-da. And the other thing is that he's describing is he's like, you have to be able to fool these rich people into giving you money. It's like basically like
when
what
you
he's
get
saying.
to the higher echelons of society, everyone knows everything.
Yes,
they know
dude.
everything about everything.
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
that's fucking
Not
horseshit.
True at all.
Rich people are fucking idiots. And if you talk to a poor person, they're stupid and they don't know anything about anything.
It's exactly, dude.
He's talking to his audience. It's like, you are all stupid.
Dude, precisely. It is like the people who love Jordan Peterson love being abused. Like, they just like love
It reminds me of this
being
like
told that they're stupid. You stupid little fuck.
That's like it's like why they are susceptible to guys like Andrew Tate too, is because it's like a dominating, like submissive fucking like
dude,
thing they get themselves into, where it's like, this guy is gonna whip me into shape.
Yeah, they're like, I'm a little sub. I need a daddy.
I need daddy to make me daddy. Because I'm daddy secretly, but
daddy, teach me how to tie a tie.
Teach me how to make my bed, daddy.
Daddy, what are your 12 rules for life?
You've seen these like things where it's like, this resort only accepts men. Like those, I saw a video of like these guys at one of those kinds of resorts where they're like almost naked and they have like these heavy like chains like wrapped around them, and it's just some fucking Andrew Tate looking bald dude like in a fucking shirt that fits too tight being like, get in that ice water tub, get in that ice water tub, pussy. And then when they don't do it, I mean, he's like, you're out of here, you're gone, dude.
Yeah, like a fascist boot camp.
Yeah, I
get ads for those all the time. It's like that and like food in buckets.
Yeah,
they're like, here's some food in buckets. But so the first thing that happens, ads. And then I told you beforehand, I was really excited to see who was going to be opening for it.
Right.
Because before it had been this guy, Dave Rubin, who's like also like one of the dumbest dudes of all time. Like if you actually listen to what he's saying, it's nothing. It's like incoherent nonsense. And instead it was his wife. And his wife, her name is Tammy Peterson. And she is basically just like this little old lady, and she was like, hello everyone, this is how she talked for real. And she was like, I'm just going to tell you a story, 10 minutes of your time, and then my husband will come out and lecture. And she's talking like this, and she's literally just tells a story about her sister with dementia, who's like 69 years old is what she said. But before she'd gotten dementia like really bad, like towards the beginning, her sister flew out by herself to New York and came on tour with her and Jordan Peterson for 2 weeks. And she was like, I'm just going to do what you guys do. And so she ate meat and water, nothing but meat and water for 2 weeks. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, they went to a wedding, and like somebody at the wedding was like, said to her sister was like, "You look great," like da 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 da, and she was like, "It's just an anecdote," and that was literally the entire story.
Oh my God.
The entire story, and I didn't record any of that because I was too scared at that point because I was sitting around everybody.
Yeah.
And they had said, they were like, "Don't record anything," like da 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 da. And so I was like a little hesitant to like whip out my phone and start recording in front of everybody sitting
Sure.
around me.
Sure.
But it was a snooze fest. Imagine a 10-minute story to tell you what I just told you.
Yeah, fuck.
You know what I mean? It's like fucking like nothing. Like it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It just like, I literally think it was like to lull everyone to sleep or something. And so then she brings out Jordan Peterson.
What's the applause like?
The applause is like, dude, it's like some people stood up, but I was not gonna stand up and like clap. Like even if everybody did, I was like, I'm not gonna do it. But thankfully, not everybody stood up. Like
Okay.
most people were just like clapping like regular. And then, dude, Jordan Peterson started his lecture, and it was about an hour long, and it was a fucking snooze fest, dude.
Yeah.
Like literally the most boring fucking shit. It was about Genesis and the story of Adam and Eve, and he literally was like preaching Genesis for like an hour.
Timely stuff.
And the whole notion behind it was essentially like that
It's called Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
well yeah, that's true. He is right about that.
And the snake is Palestine.
No, dude, so he basically like what he was like connecting, like at certain points he like made connections between like Eve and like modern feminism, but like mostly like this, like everything was nonsense. Nobody understood
And
what he
the
was
apple is WAP.
saying. Dude, nobody in the entire room understood anything that he was saying because he's not saying anything. Every so often when I was sitting around everybody, this like old guy like that was 2 seats away from me kept going, huh. And I was like, I wanted to be like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like you feel like this is a waste of money too, and you're not even here for the same reasons as me.
God, that's so funny.
And so eventually I got up and I moved to like an area where there were less seats, and I started sitting in the back and vaping. And I was watching him, and I could record easier and stuff. But the whole time I'm just sitting there, and I was like so frustrated because I was like, dang, dude, like I bought this ticket. I thought I'd come here and then like I'd get some stuff where I could dunk on this guy on my podcast or something, and we can make fun of him.
Right.
And instead it was just boring, dude. It was literally like he was reading Genesis, and the only interesting thing that happened is the remote kept fucking up. And like the remote kept fucking up, and he kept skipping ahead, but he's like reading Bible scripture. It's stuff that you could hear probably at like any church.
Yeah.
Basically. Like any like slight like church with like a conservative bent, which is a lot. Like,
Most churches.
yeah, most churches.
Yeah.
You could hear it anywhere. And so I was like, fuck, dude. I was so upset. Like, and then we got to the Q&A. And so the only other thing that of note, though, that did happen was there was a heckler. Somebody yelled something out about Gaza.
Oh, well.
They were like, I have the clip. I meant to play it, and I'm going to play it right now.
And the answer is, well, certainly some, and maybe a lot, and possibly all? Okay, that's enough out of you. I'm dead serious. If you make another sound, you'll be out. It's not your forum for your false morality.
Weak. It's weak, dude.
I like that at the beginning
It's
of the
a
clip, the
terrible-
part that was unrelated to the heckle, he was like, maybe some, not all, or some. Like,
Yes, dude. Yeah.
It's
It's
like, I have to imagine if you broke down that hour into how much he's actually just repeating himself, it's probably
dude,
like
I listened
30
to it.
minutes of
I
actual.
listened back to it to
Yeah.
pull these clips. So I listened to everything that I recorded, and he talked for probably 20 minutes of like, so I have recorded an hour. So he talked for probably like 10 to 15, 20 minutes before I started recording. And it's just like nonsense. And that stuff was all him literally reading from the Bible, like on slides. And so he got heckled. I don't know what the person said. The person didn't say it even loud enough for me to
Right.
hear it.
I
And
just heard the word Gaza.
yeah, he said something about babies in Gaza.
Mm.
And Jordan Peterson then said, this isn't your forum for your fake morality. And it's like, what does that even fake morality of being like, you shouldn't kill babies?
Yeah. I thought you guys loved that idea.
So then we get to the Q&A.
That's just when they're in white women's stomachs. That's the only time we don't want to kill babies. Otherwise, it's fair game.
But literally.
No,
But literally,
yeah,
though.
but that's actually right.
That actually is literally what he thinks. But we get to the Q&A, dude. And so this whole time, everybody's bored out of their fucking minds. Not just me.
Sure.
Not just me, everybody there.
Right.
Everybody's bored. And then the Q&A starts. And that's when...
The QAnon.
that's when Jordan B. Peterson gets to cooking. Because the first question that he got asked was from a woman. And it was, what should a woman look for in a man?
That's
like
amazing.
in a mate or whatever. Like if you're looking for marriage, what should you look for? And he stood up and started talking because clearly, I don't know if this question was planted. I'm sure that it gets asked a lot.
Sure.
So he clearly had like a planned response. And Tammy was looking at the questions, so she's just like setting him up to knock him down. You know what I mean? She knows what she's doing. She gets the drill by now.
That's what Kevin Smith's Q&As were like.
Yes.
He would get asked about the same movie 100 times, so he's like, I actually have 10 minutes of material on this question.
Yes, dude. And so he basically goes on like this long sort of like tangent about like men and like how they, saying nothing. And then like eventually he sort of arrives to this next point that I clipped out. Because it made me laugh really hard. So this is sort of like what Jordan Peterson thinks about what women should look for in a man.
What a girl wants is a lobster of a man. Lobster man.
Precisely the wealth. What the women are looking for is the ability to generate productively and to share. Right? Now, that's not all though, because a man who's productive and generous can be a pushover. And that's not good, because then you can have a productive, generous man from whom everyone takes until there's nothing left. And so you need a productive, generous man who's a bit of a monster. Right. And that's the plot of every female pornographic harlequin romance that's ever been written. I'm dead serious about that.
What the fuck?
There's a very well-developed literature on female romantic sexual fantasies. And productive, generous monster, he's at the top of the list, man. And you remember the story Beauty and the Beast, the Disney movie? You have Gaston. He's Justin Trudeau, by the way.
What is he?
Justin Trudeau.
That's for sure. And so
Gaston never does blackface.
Gaston is he's like the simulacrum
you know.
of a man. He looks a lot like a man, and he has all the bluster of a man, but he's neither productive nor generous. He's the false. He's a narcissist. He's false in his masculinity. And Beauty, who's actually quite a perspicacious girl and wise, can see through him, even though the more foolish girls can't, which is the truth in real life, by the way. Because narcissistic psychopaths are much more attractive to young women than to women who are somewhat
Chads.
It takes young women, especially if they're naive, some time to sort the men out into productive, generous monsters and false narcissistic psychopaths, right? And so Beauty has an unerring eye, and she goes for the beast and tames him, brings him into a relationship, encourages him to be productive and generous, and then he's also got enough spine to keep the real monsters at bay. And so it's a tricky thing for women to manage, because it's a lot of competing traits to get right when you're looking for a man, right? Because you need the productivity without the single-minded intensity that would make someone into nothing but a workaholic. You need the generosity, but you need the generosity without being a pushover, so that's a tough one. And then you need the monstrosity to keep the real monsters at bay, but that has to be contained enough so that it doesn't become tyrannical of its own accord. And so, good luck with
It's
that,
a lot
ladies.
like a woman picking a man is actually a lot like when you pick your starter Pokemon. You have to decide which of these pocket monsters is able to keep the other pocket monsters at bay Dude, fucking...
It's so insane, dude. I love the idea of admitting he's
My
like,
girlfriend doesn't want to fuck the xenomorph from the Alien movies because he's either generous or whatever the other fucking thing is, okay? It's because he's got a little mouth inside of his big mouth. Monsters are fuckable. Yeah, no one's disputing that, but it's not because they're generous and keeping other monsters at bay.
but I love that he's like, the problem is that men are so psychotic.
And you have to find one where you're not the victim of the psychoticness.
Yes, dude. Yeah, he literally is like, a lady asked him, she was like,
lightly.
Jordan Peterson, what should I look for in a man that I need to get married? Well, he's got to be the right kind of monster.
Jesus Christ.
It's psychotic, dude.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's fucking
insane. When he said that, I was like, oh my God. I was so thankful, dude, because I was like, this I can put on my podcast.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
It was crazy.
And that is how men think of themselves. You know who came to mind was Tony Soprano.
Yes.
Tony Soprano is a
Dude,
monster
yes.
who is both generous but not a pushover. And all.
Yes.
And it's like, and also he's a total piece of shit and a
Yeah,
serial
yeah.
killer. You know what I mean? Like,
he's a murderous thug.
yeah. And it's like, you shouldn't want to be married to somebody who is like dangerous to others but not you, because it's a false choice, because anyone that's dangerous is simply dangerous.
Right.
There's no one that's gonna be safe from a dangerous person.
Dude, it literally is like that weird online thing of like, you have two wolves inside of you. Like, you know,
one is a monster.
Yeah, one is a monster.
And the other's Gaston.
No, Gaston is Gaston.
Gaston's not. He's a monster, but he's one of the monsters that you can have a big monster to keep at bay. Gaston is like a Zubat, and the Beast is like Charizard.
Dude, it was so funny. And then the next question that he got, they only took a few questions, but the next question that they got was,
did you just misgender Jordan Peterson? And
well, I'm saying him and Tammy.
Oh, Tammy's also taking questions. Okay, so you're using the multiple, the unwoke plural.
Yeah. They're like, it's only plural, even though it's not. Because you could, Anyway,
whatever.
Them's they
these two fools.
Yeah, dude, he did come out at the beginning. He was like, my pronouns are stupid bitch. I was like, all right, Tammy, I'll call you stupid bitch, I guess. I don't know.
I'm Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, and my pronouns are beef water.
But somebody asked him about homeschooling your kids, and it was quite the predicament for him because he had an ad for his school like at the beginning of the show.
I think it's right until and up to the point that they're eligible to go to Peterson Academy. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. School sucks. But my school, pretty cool.
Literally, yes, dude. Pretty cool. He ended up doing that, but I pulled this other clip that I thought was funny because he's talking about sort of like you know, homeschooling your kids and like what that means, and he sort of says exactly what you would say to this crowd of people to like make them.
I did work in 2016 that showed we were looking at predictors of politically correct authoritarianism. And the predictors were stupidity, that was the first predictor, low verbal intelligence, the second one was being female, the third one was having a female temperament, and the fourth was ever having taken even one course that had a woke tilt. And so if you send your kids to a school where the rainbow flag is prevalent and they're exposed to that moralizing tyranny, it's going to have an effect. And is homeschooling the answer? It's an answer.
Oh my God. Dude. What I find so confusing about this kind of language and the way that these people talk about moralists and moralism is just like, you're Christians.
Yes.
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes,
Like the
yes,
whole
yes,
fucking
yes.
basis of your reality is morals.
Yes,
You know? And
right.
and it's like, you know who else I remember distinctly seeing talk about moralism as if it was like a dirty thing and a bad word?
Yeah.
Lena Dunham's character in Girls. You know what I mean? It just seems like once you start talking about moralism as if it's a bad thing, that you are just saying like, I want to be the unique piece of shit that I am.
Yes, yes.
And I'll do whatever I need to justify
it's,
that.
It's basically like saying out loud, like, am having difficulty coming to terms with what I believe and what reality is.
It's like
And so I've invented this thing that makes my beliefs real.
right, exactly. It's so fucking. It's like
Yes.
you know, once you decide that morals are wrong,
Dude.
yeah, you just have like a build your own fucking ideology
dude,
for like
because-
doing whatever the fuck you
And
want.
it leads you to like doing like stuff where you're like, I did a report on what the traits for
Stupidity and women.
yeah, dude. The
When there's
traits-
women around
the
and people are
traits for-
stupid, they act womanly, then they're stupid women now.
Are those traits for political correct authoritarianism? It's like, dude, it's like, what is this even? He's like, yeah,
I've been tracking politically correct authoritarianism, and what I've found is that the border needs to be protected. We
Dude.
need to build a wall.
dude. It's like the funny thing about it is like, first of all, science is not. Like the category that they would use if it were actual science would not
Stupidity,
be stupid.
women,
yeah,
women
Like,
like
okay,
people.
How are you defining stupidity?
I also love that he comes. They have female temperaments, and it's like,
Yes.
oh, do you mean like maybe they aren't men?
yeah, dude.
Maybe there's something that isn't a man. I don't know. You know.
The last one though is what
Do you
want to
share a bathroom with someone with a female temperament?
My favorite one is the last one though, when he says, or having ever taken even a single course with a slightly woke tilt. And it's like, how are you measuring that, dude? Like, how do you turn a single course with a slightly woke tilt into a measurement?
Did they teach you about Dr. Martin Luther King? Doctor? Jordan Peterson's voice sounds like it sounds like if like Dr. Evil had like a brother in the Austin Powers movies whose whole thing was that he was like the middle child. He's a middle child Dr. Evil energy.
He does, dude. When the show ended, right?
Yeah.
And I like walked out. I met Ginny parked at Costco to pick me up. And I
Good.
walked
Yeah,
over to Costco.
don't put her anywhere near the
Yeah,
Dahmers.
no. But dude, as I was walking out, so the whole time when he was talking about Adam and Eve, he kept talking about the garden, and like he like, you know, dude, his whole thing is like, it's very like pedantic, like, you know, it'll be like, a garden, what is a garden? And then he'll go on like a 10-minute tangent about like this sort of like esoteric idea of like what a garden is or whatever, when it's like, dude, they are talking about a garden. Like the Garden of Eden is a garden. Like, we don't need like this like 15-minute like tangent. But it seems, if you're stupid, it seems like it's like crazy.
Yeah.
And so as I'm walking, there are these two bros walking behind me, like, who clearly parked at Costco as well. So they're walking behind me like the whole way. It's probably like 5 minutes. And the entire time they're like close enough behind me that I can hear their conversation. And they're talking about the show. And they're like trying to like glean something from it. And they're trying really, really hard. And they're having trouble. And so they're saying to like, basically like finishing each other's sentences where they're like, yeah, dude, so it's like, you know, like your garden, like you think that you can cultivate your garden, but like actually like it's like you need to like get like the higher status.
Yeah, and you can't let bitches eat fruit. Because if they eat fruit, and by fruit what I mean is like YouTube essays. Yeah,
but almost exactly.
I know
like,
the type.
They weren't saying bitches, but they were like clearly like trying to like, and they didn't even say anything about women. They were trying to like glean something from it for themselves, because
Yeah.
that's like the ultimate like like when I was walking back, like listening to them, like that was like what was like struck me about it too is like kind of sad is that like these are like clearly like all these people who are like the world is fucked up and like society feels like it's leaving me behind
and they're super confused.
Yeah.
They don't know why, and it
they're like
seems
I need to reach out for anything,
Right.
and they get hooked in by a guy like Jordan Peterson, and next thing you know they're walking behind me talking about their gardens out of Jeffrey Dahmer Arena,
Jesus Christ.
and I'm talking about him on my podcast. So I went, dude. I felt like I have like a curiosity about that stuff, and I feel like it was worth it. This
Yeah.
was a fun time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and
It's kind of depressing, but
It's also, I mean, cost of admission for me is worth it just to know that they weren't like planning family picnics and stuff together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just to
yeah,
know that
yeah,
like everybody remained isolated from one another, and that we're not going to have weird.
no, it didn't seem
Peterson
like anybody had a
cults.
good time. It was honestly like my review of the show. Like, just even if you're a fan of that shit, snooze fest.
Yeah.
Don't go. It's like not worth it, dude.
Not worth it to
It
wrestle
was such
with
a
God.
boring, it was such a boring fucking 0 out of 5 popcorn bags for Jake, dude. The other thing too is that I forgot my wallet when we
Yeah, you
pulled up. I
mentioned that.
forgot my wallet, so the whole time I was so thirsty.
Oh,
I was like
fuck.
parched and like I'm like listening. I'm just like I've felt like I was in like a desert of just like boringness and this guy saying nothing, and
And you're like, well, if I can't have water, I'll just vape in the back.
make my mouth even more dry.
Yeah.
But that's it. That was my experience at Jordan Peterson.
Tight.
Thanks for listening with me
Yeah.
and doing it. What do you got to plug? Do you have to plug anything?
I'm gonna be on Catch a Trying Star at the Rhino this coming Saturday, the 24th, I think it is.
Nice.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the 24th sounds right. So that'll be fun. Come see me. It's a fun lineup.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, please follow me on Instagram and all of them.
Yep.
Evan C. Goldt.
Evan C. Goldt. And as always, check out this podcast on social media at jakeand.off.podcast. And send anything at all to jakeand.off.podcast@gmail.com. I'll take a look at it at least once. So that's it. That's the show. I love you guys. Bye-bye.